Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I cut down some pieces of the TikTok live that I did with my son on this past Sunday. So that's what you're getting ready to see. It's about 10 minutes. We did a little bit over an hour. If you want more from, it was like various topics, so not specifically one. I tried to pick a few and group them together. But this way you'll get to see my perspective as well as somebody who's younger than me, somebody who's my son. So just thought that I would share this with you and hopefully you get something out of it. So talk to you soon.
Okay. Says, Dad keeps reaching out to me, but he's so toxic and a narcissist. So you guys already know my feedback is going to be, it doesn't matter if they're your parent or not. Does not matter. Okay. If someone is constantly toxic, you owe them nothing just because they are a parent. Now I'm gonna have you jump in after that.
I mean, you literally said it right on the dot. At the end of the day, you have to consider what's best for you. And I understand that's your dad. And my main advice would be talk to them, talk to your dad, see kind of what he's thinking, but also tell him how you feel. And if you can't find a common ground, I would say ignore him or block him or ice him out and put the ball in his court and really see how he wants to approach it. Is it worth kind of losing his daughter, or is it, okay, well, maybe I've done a little too much, and then hopefully can rekindle the relationship?
Yeah, and unfortunately she's dealing with a narcissist. And especially with him, you know, he's very good with his boundaries. He lets me know ahead of time. He's not rude, he's not mean, we have discussions, but he's very firm. Wouldn't you say you're very firm in your...
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Again, communication is something I think is probably the most important thing. But let them know how you feel. I had seen a couple boundaries on there, and I like that. You know, allow them to understand how you feel. And if they don't want to listen to you because they're narcissistic, they don't feel like it's ever their fault, okay, like I said, put the ball in their court, ignore them.
Yep.
And see, and allow them to almost have to change. If they don't want to change, it's almost their loss. And it's, of course, it's easier said than done being, you know, a father-daughter type relationship, but you can only do so much. If he doesn't want to change, that's really not your fault.
The boundaries cannot be disrespected when you respect them. They can only be disrespected when you feel the need to make them comfortable or approve your boundary. It is not your responsibility to make other people comfortable with your freaking boundaries. It is not your responsibility. So what you do, and Bugsy just kind of talked about it a second ago, where if somebody's not respecting your boundaries and they're not hearing you, cut them off, you block, you learn, you just stop trying to explain it to get them to hear it. What do you say about that?
I mean, I don't really think I can add anything else to that. You really got it right on the spot. At the end of the day, if they don't respect your boundaries, then they're not respecting you. Now, it's really up to you on how you want to handle that. If you're okay with it, you know, so be it. But
and it's about holding your own boundaries.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, you're selling yourself short if you're not respecting your own boundaries and you're letting others disrespect your boundaries. You're letting them walk all over you. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, if you don't want that, you have to let it be known. Like, those are my boundaries. If you disrespect it, you're cut off. Right. That's it. There's
non-negotiable,
no more.
baby.
No, especially when it comes to respecting you and what you set as boundaries. If they don't want to follow that, then they're not respecting you at all. So there's no reason to have them in your life if they, you know, don't want to respect your boundaries.
Oh, mic drop. I don't have a mic, but I'd throw that thing on the ground fast as hell. Oh, somebody said, do you block for good or you block in the moment? You block for good.
You're literally nailing all these on the head, so it's just going to be me reiterating everything you're saying. But at the end of the day, if you have them temporarily blocked, you're still letting them in your head. You know, they'll always find a way to message you, whether you have them blocked or not, or find you. Like, you have to try to permanently take them off, because if you only have them temporary, you're constantly thinking like, okay, well, you know, it's only been about a week, so maybe if I unblock them and we try, no, you're giving them too much power. Completely eliminate them from your life. You have to do that. It is the most beneficial way for you, or you will be driven insane.
This question is, how do you let go of guilt and shame? I've told you before, shame is control. If someone tries to shame you into something, it's control, right? They're saying, oh, you didn't call me for my birthday? I can't believe that you didn't call me for my birthday, or you didn't call your dad for your birthday. for his birthday. Now we're starting to go into that shame thing because somebody wants you to feel bad because they wouldn't have done that. That's on them. And if you're trying to shame someone else, that's on you, right? You don't get to, everything I say to you will always pertain to you. So if you're walking around saying, I don't want to be shamed, then you don't get to shame anybody else. As far as guilt goes, guilt can be mildly helpful if you look at a situation and you say, ooh, I probably shouldn't have done that. That's cool. You don't have to go on an apology tour. You can apologize once if warranted, not because somebody wants an apology. If you feel as though you did something wrong, then and only then do you apologize, not because they want one. They don't need one. They don't deserve one if you feel like you did nothing wrong. So if they're so guilt can be beneficial if you're learning from it to go forward. But I'm going to ask you that question too. For them, how do you feel is an easier way, or how have you coped with releasing your shame and your guilt?
Well, man, you really, you answer these questions well. I think as far as like guilt goes, you don't want it to overcome you, but it's natural. It's one of those things that you wouldn't even want gone, because then you're losing touch with your emotions.
Like,
yeah, the guilt is natural. And I would say, if you feel guilty, say, for whatever reason, or to whoever it was about, let them know, like, look, I'm sorry, whatever the situation was, I should have reached out more, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. That's fine. But as far as shame goes, like,
that's control.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's control.
Now, what if, to kind of piggyback on that question, what if someone is trying to guilt you into doing something? Like make you feel guilty about something?
Well, I would say, again, it's easier said than done to not do it. But think about all the times you've been guilted into doing something, or shamed because you didn't do something. Do you really want to surround yourself with people like that? Because people that really care about you aren't going to sit there and guilt you or shame you for not being as active in their life, or whatever the situation may be. At the end of the day, if they don't want what's also best for you,
Exactly.
At the end of you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get to the point where you're trying to satisfy everybody, but why aren't they satisfying you as well? You have to understand that you're allowing them to have too much control. You get to a point where you just get exhausted. I don't know if there's an exact answer what you can do, off rip. It takes time. You have to continuously, say no, or if they want to guilt you, ignore them. Stuff like that. If they really care, they're
that's
not
that
going to
ice
sit there.
out again. You got to ice them out, baby.
Yeah, you literally have to ice them out, or you're giving them way too much control. And it's stuff that you have to learn through a whole bunch of pain and heartbreaks, and you have to this is literally, you have to learn. Yeah, it's one
life.
of those things, yeah.
Yeah, that's life in general. The question to this, Bugs, is how do you accept and find peace in your failures? Failure is beautiful. I'm going to repeat this several times. I'm going to drill it in your head. Because repetition. See, people want to learn things, and then they're like, okay, cool, I heard you, but I want more. No. Are you hearing or are you listening? Because to understand that your failure is beautiful. Failure and mistakes are the most amazing tool on your successful toolbox. When you fail, you are learning a lesson. It lets you know, hey, not a lesson like you suck, not a lesson like, oh my God, woe is me. We're going to talk about that because neither one of us rock with that woe is me attitude. We've both been there and we all rock with it. There ain't no woe is me here, right? So here's the thing with that. If you go into this woe is me, if you go into this woe is me, like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm always a failure. First of all, that's not your voice. That's somebody else's voice that now you've adopted, and now you want to be a victim to those circumstances and you want to push blame. That will never work with me. If you ever become a client, I work with clients all over the world. If you ever become a client and you think that I'm going to allow you to live in your trauma and I'm going to allow you to live as a victim to your trauma and a victim to your failures, I am not your person. Save your time, save your money, not your girl. Even my content isn't going to be for you, because this isn't about invalidating you. Your feelings are valid, but they're not facts. If you live in your trauma and you live in your failures and you live as though the woe is me, nobody's going to want to be around you, and nobody cares if you're having a pity party, right? Do you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah. Nobody likes to fail. Nobody wants to feel like they're not doing something, but my biggest thing is try. Even though that's the hardest, I think it's the hardest thing to do is try. If you failed, that means you tried, and you can learn from it. Instead of being like, oh, well, I'm never doing that again. Okay, well, why did I fail? What can I do to improve on that? If you're failing, you're growing. And it's something I'm still learning. It's important to fail. Because if you succeed in everything, you're not pushing yourself past your comfort zone. You're going to fail at stuff, especially if you really want to do whatever it is. You're going to fail. Anybody that you know has failed. Every successful person you know has failed. And they failed over and over
and will
and
fail
over,
again.
and will continue to fail. It's just natural. That's the world. A lot of the times you're your biggest critic, no matter what. So you failing, instead of penalizing you for failing, why don't you figure out, okay, well, I'm glad I'm trying. What else can I do to succeed in this? Now that you failed, you know what not to do, and you can build on that. And it's a snowball effect with everything. If you're failing, you should be proud that you're trying.
Facts.
It's the biggest thing. You will grow tremendously. You can look back at any point in your life where you failed and you felt terrible at that exact second. If you look to where you're at this particular second, I guarantee you've grown from that particular failure.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about people who live in the woe is me, the victim mentality?
Well, you're going to get to the point where you're not going to have any support. Imagine if I was friends with you and I suck at everything I do. Life is just too hard. You're not going to want to, you're going to be like, dude, like,
get it together.
Yeah,
Get your shit together.
The world does not revolve around you. If you really want to make a change, you have to adapt the mentality of, well, I have to get better. Just do little things. Build your confidence slowly. You don't have to sit there and, let me try to get to the moon in a matter of like a week. I'm just throwing some hypothetical out there, but you have to understand that the world doesn't care if you're, life is just too hard. I can't do it. I hate failing, boo-hoo me. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, don't. I had the same mentality. Oh, especially in sports growing up. Oh, I missed this shot. Oh, I suck. People don't care. They don't. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, yeah, you do suck. Now what?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, you do suck. Now what?
And it's no one's responsibility to heal your stuff.
Yeah, it's you. And it takes time. It's one of those things you won't just adapt overnight. You have to go through it to really understand. You have to be broken down. Again, it ties in with the failures. You will grow from them if you allow yourself to. The failure is just as important as succeeding. It's just as important.
Absolutely. Like all the way across the board. Absolutely.
So just remember, right? No one gets a free pass. Your family members don't get free passes. Communication, you hear that that's a big thing, especially when Bugsy was talking about it. Communication and boundaries, right? And be willing to ice people out if need be. You have to protect your peace. You are the only human who can protect your peace. No one can protect your peace for you. So, but yes, that's my son, and definitely wanted to share him with you.